Breakdown 1975 is a new documentary by director Morgan Neville that takes a look at the events in the year of 1975, predominantly in the US, and how that impacted the movies that were made in 1975. Some released in 75, some released in 76. And boy, was this good. This was really good. Now, if you know me, the 70s is the era that I was born in and started to grow up in, and I'm fascinated by that era. I'm fascinated about learning about what the world around me was like before I fully understood it. And this documentary goes a long way toward doing this. It is loaded with clips. It is loaded with clips to the degree where you wonder how they cleared the rights for all these clips. And then you remember, oh, this is a Netflix film and they have deep pockets. This is narrated by Jodie Foster. You have a lot of on-camera people talking about the films of that year or their memories of that year or the films that they worked on that were produced and released in that year. You've got Martin Scorsese, Ellen Burstyn, Oliver Stone, Peter Bart, Patton, Oswalt, Josh Brolin, Seth Rogen, not that he had much to do with anything from 1975, Albert Brooks, Peter Biskind, and on and on and on. And excellent editing in this. They do really great things where they're talking about a certain social movement or incident or problem that was going on in the country at the time, and they illustrate that with film, but they'll cut between two shots. They'll cut between scenes of two different movies so that the movies are interacting with each other. It's not like CGI trickery. It's literally straight cuts between, let's say, like Taxi Driver and Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, or something like that, where it seems like the characters are talking to each other, or where it seems like you're looking at, cutting back and forth between two characters in the same scene, and they're really in two different movies. It talks about trends in cinema at the time, and it talks about how Jaws ruined everything. Yet another documentary that's like, we had all these crazy great movies, and they were artistic, and they were edgy, and they were underground, and filmmakers were doing whatever they wanted to, and then Jaws came out, and they had all to be blockbusters after that. But Jaws is a great movie. It's a great movie, and it's just unfortunate that it never plays theatrically anywhere. So, the Breakdown 1975, I'm not going to say too much about it other than this. It is fantastic. If you love movies like I love movies, which I hope you do, it is really, really good. If you are fascinated by American history, or just don't know about American history of that era, or would like a refresher, it's really, really good. And it's fascinating. At first, I was thrown because it starts off with a lot of, and I know that I'm pretty good up to a point knowing what year films came out in, for about like a 20-year span. And I'm watching all these clips at the beginning. I'm like, well, these are all 1974 movies. And I'm like, oh, I see. They're telling you what was going on in the country leading up to 75 through clips and film. That's cool. And then they start, the proper documentary begins and starts going. And I start seeing clips from films that came out in 76. I'm like, wait a minute. These films came out in 76. But they probably were shot in 70. So there were films that were shot in 75. So if you're watching this like me and you start getting pedantic because something that came out in 76 is being shown or discussed, it's because the film was shot in 75. And what they're saying is, yes, these films were reflecting what was going on around them as they were making it. If you don't know, films take a while to make, and then they take a while to come out after they're made. So it was very, very good, very interesting, very smart, and not a lot of documentaries I say I would watch again or wouldn't mind owning, but Breakdown 75 is one I wouldn't mind owning. But being that it's on Netflix, it's probably going to live on Netflix in perpetuity. So if you can watch it, if you got the Netflix, certainly the scammers who send spam emails think the majority of us do, please enjoy Breakdown. And yes, they do use the Tom Petty song, Breakdown 1975.